Archangel Michael says, "My child, my beloved, pay attention to the atmosphere of your home. Not because an invisible countdown is threatening you, but because something you have quietly noticed may finally deserve a clearer look. Perhaps there have been moments when your home felt different, when a conversation left you uneasy, or when someone's behavior did not match their words. Do not immediately dismiss those feelings, but do not turn them into certainty without evidence. You may have wondered whether someone close to you is truly who they claim to be. Let that concern lead you toward observation rather than accusation. Truth becomes easier to recognize when emotion is joined with patience and discernment. Heaven has not forgotten you simply because you sometimes doubt yourself. You do not need applause from other people to know that your feelings matter. What matters now is learning how to separate genuine warning signs from fear and assumption. There may be a woman in your life whose behavior deserves closer attention. Perhaps something about her words, boundaries, or treatment of you has felt inconsistent. If so, allow her actions over time to reveal her character. Do not assume that kindness is automatically a mask, or that jealousy is hiding behind every smile. Instead, notice patterns. Does she repeatedly disrespect your boundaries, manipulate information, compete with you, or behave differently when others are absent? Those patterns matter more than a sudden feeling of strange energy. Exhaustion, confusion, and emotional heaviness can come from stress, conflict, poor sleep, or difficult relationships without requiring a supernatural explanation. My child, if you consistently feel drained around someone, ask what is actually happening between you. Are you overgiving? Are your boundaries being ignored? Are conversations leaving you anxious because something important remains unresolved? That is where discernment begins. Archangel Michael stands as a symbol of courage, reminding you that you can protect yourself without becoming consumed by suspicion. You do not need fear to recognize unhealthy behavior. Imagine Michael beside you with his sword lowered in protection, not raised in accusation. Let that image remind you to remain steady while truth reveals itself through facts, consistency, and the choices people make when they believe no one is watching. Your home can hold memories, prayers, difficult conversations, and emotional associations. But walls do not secretly testify against people. If something needs to be revealed, look for observable evidence rather than interpreting ordinary sensations as proof. The woman you are concerned about may eventually reveal something through her own behavior. You do not need to expose her prematurely. Give truth enough time and space to become visible without forcing the outcome. If you discover dishonesty, manipulation, or betrayal, respond according to what actually happened. Strengthen your boundaries. Document serious concerns. Seek support and protect your home appropriately when the situation requires it. Do not confront someone solely because a message told you they were secretly envious or trying to steal your identity. Those are serious conclusions, and they deserve real evidence before becoming accusations. Someone may imitate your style, repeat your language, or take inspiration from you without intending harm. If copying crosses a meaningful boundary, address the behavior directly rather than assigning motives you cannot know. My beloved, your light does not become smaller because another person imitates something about you. Your identity is built from your experiences, character, choices, faith, and the way you live when no audience is present. Let this message become an invitation to clarity. Look carefully at what is happening inside your home. Notice behavior. Listen to your instincts without surrendering to them completely. Ask questions where questions are needed. And if there truly is deception nearby, you do not need panic to uncover it. Truth has a way of becoming clearer when you stop ignoring patterns and start responding with calm, wisdom, and strong boundaries. You are not alone, beloved. Let Archangel Michael remind you of courage, but let evidence guide your conclusions. What is hidden does not need fear to be revealed. It needs patience, honesty, discernment, and eyes willing to see clearly. No more. Bell. Subscribe right now if your spirit is feeling this word. You were guided to this for a reason. And more divine revelations are coming for you every day. Don't miss what's next. Now listen. Your house, your sanctuary, has been silently absorbing the pain you've been hiding. You didn't speak it out loud, but your soul was crying for justice. Heaven heard you. There is a reason certain plants withered when she came over. There is a reason your sleep changed when she spent the night. There is a reason you've been feeling blocked after giving her your trust. She was never sent by God. But here's the good news, my beloved. This woman is about to be exposed. Not by you, not by drama, but by the light of truth itself. She won't be able to hide anymore. You will not have to lift a finger because Archangel Michael's sword is already cutting every hidden rope she tried to tie around your destiny. The moment she spoke falsely about you in private, the moment she sowed doubt into your name, that was the moment heaven marked her actions. And now your house is about to be cleansed. There will be a shift so undeniable. You will feel peace where there was tension. Doors will open where there was silence. Even your own body will feel lighter. But you must do this. Speak these words out loud. I claim back my home in the name of divine truth. No snake shall hide in my walls again. No fake love shall sit at my table. Let the truth reveal itself. When you speak that with faith, you will see miracles start within 3 days. And for many of you, it begins in the next 48 hours. This is how close you are to the unveiling. But here's what you must understand. This woman was never just a person. She was a test. Heaven sent her to show you how powerful your light is, because even she couldn't resist trying to be you. You are more powerful than you know. And she tried to steal what she did not earn. But what is chosen by God cannot be copied. You must remember that. Now listen closely. Do not confront her. Do not argue. Do not try to explain your side, because heaven is already preparing her exposure. And when it happens, it will be undeniable. You won't even need to speak. Her mask will fall, and everyone will see what you've known in your spirit all along. She smiled in your face, but she spoke curses behind your back. She tried to bless you publicly and hex you privately, but heaven reversed her words. The spell didn't reach you because Archangel Michael shielded you even when you didn't know it. You were protected in silence, and now you shall be vindicated in light. This is your time. The house you live in, it shall become a place of restoration again. Peace will return. Your sleep will become deep again. Your finances will recover. Your joy will overflow. But first, this exposure must happen, and it's already in motion. My beloved, stay calm. Heaven fights for you. You don't need revenge. You need to prepare, because after she is exposed, a blessing is coming through your front door. Yes, the same door she walked through is the same door where your miracle will now arrive. Because heaven doesn't just remove, it replaces, it restores, it multiplies. And for you, multiplication is coming, but only if you don't go back. Do not open the door again after truth is revealed. Do not let the serpent back into the garden. God is not asking for perfection. He's asking for your agreement. Will you agree today to close the door? Will you agree to protect your energy like it's sacred? Because it is. And if you do, if you protect your peace and let God do the exposing, what's coming next will make you forget the years of pain she caused. Your house shall become holy again, but first she must be removed. My child, you have felt her eyes on you. You felt watched, judged, compared. You were not wrong. You've had dreams warning you. You've had objects in your home break after she touched them. You've had things go missing, then suddenly return as if by magic. This is not coincidence. It is spiritual, but it is handled. I will continue in the next part immediately. My child, my beloved, my chosen one, there is something you must know. Yes, the same door she walked through is the same door where your miracle will now arrive. Because heaven doesn't just remove, it replaces, it restores, it multiplies. And for you, multiplication is coming, but only if you don't go back. Do not open the door again after truth is revealed. Do not let the serpent back into the garden. God is not asking for perfection. He's asking for your agreement. Will you agree today to close the door? Will you agree to protect your energy like it's sacred? Because it is. And if you do, if you protect your peace and let God do the exposing, what's coming next will make you forget the years of pain she caused. Your house shall become holy again. But first, she must be removed. My child, you have felt her eyes on you. You felt watched, judged, compared. You were not wrong. You've had dreams warning you. You've had objects in your home break after she touched them. You've had things go missing, then suddenly return as if by magic. This is not coincidence. It is spiritual. But it is handled. I will continue in the next part immediately. My child, my beloved, my chosen one, there is something you must know. The woman who is about to be exposed was once given a choice. Heaven did not send her to destroy you. She was sent as a reflection to reveal where your boundaries were soft, to show how your energy was being drained, to test how deeply you would trust your intuition. But instead of learning, she chose to manipulate. Instead of blessing you, she chose to compete. Instead of being honest, she became obsessed with your light. And now, the same light she tried to copy will be the light that reveals her truth. Don't be surprised when people begin to say, "I never saw it before, but now it's so clear." Because when God removes the veil, even the blind will see. She thought no one would ever know. She thought you'd stay silent forever. But the Spirit of the Lord says you were quiet, not blind. You were gracious, not naive. You were spiritual, not stupid. And now the silence breaks. The time of secrets is over. The time of exposure is here. And her fake love will now rot in the open light. You were the rose. She was the thorn pretending to be a petal. but no more. My beloved, have you noticed your blessings slowing down since she entered your space? Your clarity getting foggy, sudden sadness without explanation. She didn't have to cast a spell with candles. Her words were curses enough, because when jealousy speaks, it drips like honey, but poisons the spirit silently. But don't worry, you are about to witness the miracle of reversal. Everything she touched with falsehood shall be restored in truth. The energy she stole shall be returned to you sevenfold. The door she opened through gossip is being slammed shut by angels. You are being elevated. This exposure is not punishment. It's promotion. It's divine justice. And it starts in your house. Have you ever wondered why your spirit feels anxious in certain rooms? Why arguments started after she visited? Why your dreams became darker after letting her in? It wasn't your imagination. Your house was absorbing her intention. But now the light of God is flooding every corner, and you will feel the difference in your bones. There will be a moment very soon when her name comes up unexpectedly. Someone will say something you never revealed. A hidden detail will surface. An accident will expose her plan. A phone left unlocked. A message screenshot. A strange comment that confirms your intuition. That's when you'll know. God was working behind the scenes the whole time. My beloved, do not gloat. Do not post. Do not say, "I told you so." Just smile silently, because heaven is the one exposing her, and heaven is the one rewarding you. You passed the test, and now you get the blessing. But let me tell you something deeper. This exposure isn't just for your healing. It's for your calling. Because your house was never just a home. It was an altar, a portal, a gate to divine purpose. But the energy within it had to be cleansed. The woman who entered with fake peace was blocking what was meant to flow through you. That's why your prayers felt delayed. That's why your project stalled. That's why you kept circling the same mountain of confusion, because God won't allow greatness to flow through a pipe full of envy. But now the pipe is being cleared. The energy is being flushed. The presence of God is returning. You'll see it in small ways first. Your appetite returns. Your focus sharpens. You begin waking up before the alarm again. And then it gets big. Emails start coming. Opportunities appear. Money flows. Peace overflows. Healing erupts. That's how you'll know. The exposure has begun, and your blessings are no longer blocked. But listen, this is not just about her. This is about you. Because if you don't learn from this, you will invite another snake wearing different makeup. So here's the wisdom. Stop ignoring the spiritual chills. Stop silencing your gut. Stop overriding your intuition just to avoid tension. Your peace is not negotiable anymore. Repeat this with me. I give no one permission to disturb the peace God has placed over my home. If your presence costs me my clarity, you're too expensive. Because this time, the protection will start with you. You won't need an angel to intervene next time. You'll sense it and shut it down. But for now, let the angels handle this. Let me, Archangel Michael, expose her. Let me remove her access. Let me guard your gate. And you rest. You breathe. You prepare for what's next, because what's coming is beautiful, and you need your full energy back. If this message has already stirred your spirit, pause and subscribe now, so you never miss another word from the divine. Each one is sent for your protection, healing, and next breakthrough. Now, hear me. The reason it's happening so fast now is because you're out of time. But listen, this is not just about her. This is about you. Because if you don't learn from this, you will invite another snake wearing different makeup. So, here's the wisdom. Stop ignoring the spiritual chills. Stop silencing your gut. Stop overriding your intuition just to avoid tension. Your peace is not negotiable anymore. Repeat this with me. I give no one permission to disturb the peace God has placed over my home. If your presence costs me my clarity, you're too expensive. Because this time, the protection will start with you. You won't need an angel to intervene next time. You'll sense it and shut it down. But for now, let the angels handle this. Let me, Archangel Michael, expose her. Let me remove her access. Let me guard your gate. And you rest, you breathe, you prepare for what's next, because what's coming is beautiful, and you need your full energy back. If this message has already stirred your spirit, pause and subscribe now, so you never miss another word from the divine. Each one is sent for your protection, healing, and next breakthrough. Now, hear me. The reason it's happening so fast now is because you're out of time. Yes, this version of you, this season you've been stuck in, it's expiring. You've done enough crying. You've forgiven enough enemies. You've given enough second chances. Now, it's time for God to show you what all that pain was preparing you for. And He can't bless the house until the liar inside it is removed. You were called to shine, but you kept dimming your light just to make her feel safe. No, she may have betrayed your trust through softness, laughter, flattering words, or kindness that later proved inconsistent. But you do not need to keep replaying every moment. Let truth become louder than the confusion you once carried. My child, your home can begin feeling lighter when fear and unresolved tension no longer control the atmosphere. If something feels different, pause before giving it a supernatural meaning. Sometimes peace simply feels unfamiliar after prolonged stress. You may notice ordinary things more intensely when you are anxious or emotionally alert. Doors moving, mirrors catching unusual reflections, objects shifting, or clocks behaving strangely. Notice them, but do not let them become evidence of hidden danger. What matters most is whether your environment supports peace. If you feel drawn to clean your space, follow that impulse practically. Clear clutter, open the windows, organize neglected areas, and remove reminders that repeatedly pull you back into painful memories. You can light a candle safely, play worship music, and pray aloud if those practices help you reconnect with God. Let them create calm and intention rather than becoming rituals you believe must remove invisible forces from your home. If anointing your doorway is meaningful within your faith, let it symbolize a clear commitment. Say, "This home will be governed by truth, prayer, respect, and peace." Then support those words through boundaries and responsible choices. My beloved, you were not foolish because someone confused you. But neither do you need to believe you possess special powers in order to trust yourself again. Discernment grows when you compare feelings with behavior evidence, and repeated patterns, knowledge can protect you when it becomes wisdom. Once you understand how manipulation, dishonesty, or boundary violations work, you become less likely to ignore them again. That is a stronger protection than living permanently suspicious of everyone. Do not allow a countdown to control you. If a strange call or text arrives, pause before responding. Verify who sent it, consider what they are asking, and do not reveal private information or make important decisions simply because something feels urgent. Silence can sometimes protect your peace, but it is not always the answer. There are situations where you need to speak clearly, document what happened, ask direct questions, or seek support instead of remaining quiet. You have carried enough emotional weight. Now reclaim what belongs to you: your voice, your judgment, your boundaries, your home, and your ability to decide who receives access to your life. No weapon formed against you needs to become a reason for paranoia. Let the promise remind you that fear does not receive the final word. You can remain prayerful while also staying practical, observant, and grounded. If someone sitting at your table repeatedly disrespects you, undermines you, or violates your trust, you have permission to reconsider their place in your life. But let that decision be based on what they actually do, not on assumptions about hidden curses. A new season may require a different circle. Choose people who demonstrate honesty, mutual respect, accountability, and care. You do not need a perfect group around you, only relationships where you can remain safe enough to be truthful. Take a deep breath now. If you feel tension releasing, allow it. Your body can respond when you finally stop rehearsing danger and begin believing you have choices again. This is not proof that an invisible force has left the room. It may be something equally important. Your nervous system is beginning to understand that you no longer have to remain constantly prepared for betrayal. Let that become the real shift, beloved. Clean what needs cleaning. Address what needs confronting. Release what has clearly become unhealthy, and let your home become a place where truth and peace no longer have to compete for space. The battle is nearly over. The fake has nearly fallen. The masks are cracking. And you, my beloved, are being reborn in the very house that once held you hostage. This message is the final trumpet, a sound in the spirit, a final warning to the one who played with holy things. She will feel it before you even see it. Her dreams will change. Her peace will vanish. Her secrets will slip from her own lips, exposed by the very words she used to deceive. You won't have to point. You won't have to explain, because the truth is about to stand up on its own feet. And lies, they never survive the storm of God's light. Your silence has been golden. Your restraint has been divine. And now heaven is repaying you for every time you kept the peace while someone else broke it. But my child, before the full blessing enters, you must finish the purge. Yes, there are still remnants of her in your space. Her energy lingers in corners. Her vibration still hums beneath your walls. That's why this moment is sacred, because tonight heaven is calling you to rise in your authority. You're not just a survivor. You're a warrior, a divine gatekeeper. And now it's time to cast out what should have never entered. Walk through your house. Speak aloud. Every false spirit, every jealous presence, every fragment of darkness be gone in the name of divine truth. I reclaim this house. I restore this temple. This is holy ground now, because your house is not just bricks. It's a throne room, a portal, and the enemy knows it. That's why he sent her to contaminate what was consecrated. But what he forgot was, you are not weak. You are chosen. And when a chosen one wakes up, no demon can stay hidden. Let me tell you something powerful. The woman who betrayed you didn't act alone. She was carrying more than wounds. She was carrying spirits, yes, spirits of confusion, spirits of comparison, spirits of division. And those spirits tried to plant seeds in your sacred space, but they failed because your roots run too deep. Your foundation is divine, and your angels were never asleep. Even when you cried on your pillow, even when your heart questioned, why did she do this to me? Heaven was already preparing her downfall. That's why the delay happened. That's why the betrayal stung. It was all timing. Heaven was aligning the moment so that when her exposure came, it would restore you, not destroy you. Because here's the truth. You didn't lose anything. She did, because your house is not just bricks. It's a throne room, a portal, and the enemy knows it. That's why he sent her to contaminate what was consecrated. But what he forgot was, you are not weak. You are chosen. And when a chosen one wakes up, no demon can stay hidden. Let me tell you something powerful. The woman who betrayed you didn't act alone. She was carrying more than wounds. She was carrying spirits, yes, spirits of confusion, spirits of comparison, spirits of division. And those spirits tried to plant seeds in your sacred space, but they failed because your roots run too deep. Your foundation is divine, and your angels were never asleep. Even when you cried on your pillow, even when your heart questioned, why did she do this to me? Heaven was already preparing her downfall. That's why the delay happened. That's why the betrayal stung. It was all timing. Heaven was aligning the moment so that when her exposure came, it would restore you, not destroy you. Because here's the truth. You didn't lose anything. She did. She lost the opportunity to walk beside royalty. She lost access to a sacred soul. She lost divine proximity. And now you rise. No longer bent over from betrayal. No longer shrinking to make others feel comfortable. No longer hiding your gifts in the name of humility. This is your time. You will walk through your front door with power. Your voice will carry weight again. Your peace will command the atmosphere. Your house will feel like heaven again. But listen carefully. There is still one final test. When the truth comes out, will you go back? Will you entertain her apology? Will you allow the snake to shed skin and re-enter with a new name? Because the serpent never disappears. It just changes tactics. She may come with a new tone, new softness, new victimhood. Don't be fooled. The same spirit still lives within her until she does the work to remove it. And that, my child, is not your responsibility. You are not her healer. You are not her second chance. You are the lesson. Let that sink in. You were not called to fix her. You were sent to expose her. And now that the exposure is complete, you walk away clean, not bitter, not bruised, but blessed because heaven never closes one. Daughter, without unlocking another one made of gold. Yes, I said gold. because what's coming next for you is not a regular blessing. It's restoration with interest. The years she drained from you, they're being returned. The finances that felt blocked, they're being released. The spiritual heaviness you carried, it's being lifted. You will wake up smiling again. You will dance in your own kitchen again. You will feel like yourself and more than yourself again. Because this isn't just healing. This is rebirth, and your new life starts now. So what do? You stay ready because when this final exposure happens, it will ripple. Others will call you shocked. Family will reach out stunned. People who once doubted you will fall silent. And the same ones who called you too sensitive will now say, "You were right." But don't gloat. Stay humble because God didn't vindicate you for revenge. He did it for alignment. This new chapter, it demands a new circle, new energy, new standards, and the old version of you that tolerated disrespect, she doesn't live here anymore. My beloved, the energy in your home is already shifting. You'll feel it when you clean, when you move furniture, when you burn incense, when you sit quietly. Near your window, you will feel a stillness return, a clarity that had been gone for months. That's how you'll know. The spirit has been lifted, the lie has left, and the truth has come home. This is your reward, your payback, your divine justice. And let me tell you this clearly. No weapon formed in her tongue shall ever touch your destiny again. You are shielded now, armored, crowned. You are a portal of divine light, and your house shall reflect that. Every room will glow. Every step you take will vibrate. Your presence alone will shift the mood of others because you have survived. What was sent to ruin you? And now you are walking into your glory season. So open the windows. Let the light in. Anoint the doorway. Play your worship. Dance barefoot if your spirit says so. Reclaim what is yours and never again question why God had to expose her. Because some demons only reveal themselves when they can no longer use you. She had nothing left to gain. So she showed her true face. That was your answer. Now walk in peace. And when the wind changes and you feel that sudden spiritual shift, smile. Because Archangel Michael kept his promise. The sword was drawn. The lie was cut. And you are free forever, my child. Never forget this moment. It was the day your house became holy again. My child, my beloved, let me tell you something few will ever understand. Some exposures don't come through arguments. They don't come through loud moments. They come silently, through a sudden shift, through an undeniable knowing, through a moment where the lie can no longer sit comfortably in your space. And that moment is now. I am speaking into your heart because you have questioned yourself for too long. You thought maybe you were imagining it. You thought maybe you were being harsh. You thought that because she smiled, she must be sincere. But heaven saw deeper, and heaven is not mocked. She used your name in conversations where you were not present. She twisted your truth. She took your generosity for weakness. But what she did not know was you were never alone in that house. Angels watched every moment. The Spirit recorded every motive. And now the Spirit of God is moving. Even the walls of your home have heard the things she said. And now they're rejecting her presence. That's why she's uncomfortable. That's why she acts nervous. That's why her words seem forced now, because the truth is rising and her mask is melting. You won't need to say anything. She will reveal herself. Let me tell you something few will ever understand. Some exposures don't come through arguments. They don't come through loud moments. They come silently, through a sudden shift, through an undeniable knowing, through a moment where the lie can no longer sit comfortably in your space. And that moment is now. I am speaking into your heart because you have questioned yourself for too long. You thought maybe you were imagining it. You thought maybe you were being harsh. You thought that because she smiled, she must be sincere. But heaven saw deeper, and heaven is not mocked. She used your name in conversations where you were not present. She twisted your truth. She took your generosity for weakness. But what she did not know was you were never alone in that house. Angels watched every moment. The Spirit recorded every motive. And now the Spirit of God is moving. Even the walls of your home have heard the things she said. And now they're rejecting her presence. That's why she's uncomfortable. That's why she acts nervous. That's why her words seem forced now. Because the truth is rising and her mask is melting. You won't need to say anything. She will reveal herself. My child, listen. There is power in silence. There is strength in discernment. And there is glory in letting heaven fight for you. You are about to witness a miracle. Not the kind that glows in gold or comes wrapped in gifts, but a miracle of justice, a miracle of spiritual reversal. The same one who tried to curse your name will now choke on her own words, not because of punishment, but because heaven is clearing the space. God is restoring the altar, and your house is sacred again. Your pillow will feel different. Your voice will sound stronger. Your prayers will start to stir the atmosphere again. This is how you know she is being removed spiritually before she's removed physically. And soon the door will close and she will not re-enter again. My beloved, do not doubt the power of this moment. You are not being dramatic. You are being awakened. This isn't just an emotional shift. It is a divine update. Your soul has upgraded, and now anything that doesn't vibrate at truth is being removed automatically. You'll notice it everywhere. Texts unanswered, phone calls going dry, plans suddenly shifting. That's not confusion. That's clarity in motion. God is cutting the cords quietly, spiritually. So when she tries to come back, it will feel uncomfortable for her because your peace has grown too loud, your presence too powerful, your house too holy. There is no room for her energy anymore. Now hear me. You may mourn it, and that's okay because she wasn't always a snake. At one point, she was sincere, but she let jealousy take the wheel. She let comparison become poison. She chose ego over loyalty. And when someone chooses to betray a divine connection, the spiritual consequence is heavy. But don't carry her karma. Let her go with love, with silence, with peace. Because your life is about to overflow with what you prayed for in secret. You sowed in silence. Now you reap in glory, but make no mistake. This is your harvest season, not hers. She forfeited her seat at your table. You didn't lose a friend. You lost a secret enemy. And heaven clapped when you chose peace over pettiness. That is why your reward will be public while her lesson will be private. And still you will pray for her because you are light, and light doesn't curse the dark. It just shines until the dark has nowhere left to hide. That's what's happening now. You're shining, and the lie is crumbling. Don't be surprised if she tries to twist the narrative. Don't be shocked if she suddenly acts like the victim. Don't let it move you, because her story won't stick. Her version won't land. Her energy is no longer in alignment with your elevation. That is why it's collapsing. You're not cursed. You're chosen. And when the chosen one awakens, everything false begins to fall. This is the fall of the fake and the rise of the anointed. This is your moment. Don't water it down. Don't delay it. Don't dim it. Claim it now. Speak aloud. My house is free. My space is clean. My soul is safe, and my peace is permanent. Repeat it daily, because your words are bricks, and you're building a temple of truth. That house you live in, it's being rededicated, anointed, covered, protected. Even your neighbors will notice the change. Even your pets will act differently. Even the air will feel lighter because angels are filling the rooms again. You'll see signs, numbers, flickering lights, winds through closed windows. Don't fear it. It's confirmation. Heaven is near. And Archangel Michael walks with you now, sword still drawn. The woman who played in darkness, she cannot touch you anymore. The mirror she used to study your ways shattered. The words she whispered into others' ears returning back to her. The attempts to block your blessings canceled, because what she forgot was, no one can curse what God has crowned. And you've been wearing a crown since birth. Now stand tall, lift your head, own your anointing. This is your divine comeback. The pain she caused, it was preparation. The confusion she stirred, it was redirection. The lies she told, they became your testimony. And now your voice carries fire. Your presence breaks chains. Your story is becoming sacred evidence of how God restores. And this house, your house, is becoming the very altar heaven will use to release your next miracle. You are ready. And so I ask you, my child, will you let the past go? Will you stop explaining yourself to those who never try to understand? Will you protect your space with holy fire? Because if you do, you will walk into a season where every delay turns to acceleration. Every no turns to yes. Every betrayal turns to birthing. And every loss becomes a ladder to your promised place. The woman who is being exposed, she will watch from a distance as the very patterns she used against you fall apart. The image she tried to copy is broken. The whispers she spread are losing power, and every attempt to block your path is returning empty. What she forgot is simple. No one can curse what God has already covered. You have carried a crown long before this season of confusion began, and nothing hidden, jealous, or manipulative can remove what heaven placed on your life. So stand up again. Lift your head without apology. This is not the end of your story. It is your divine comeback, the moment pain stops defining you and starts revealing the strength, clarity, and calling that were being formed in secret. The pain she caused did not destroy you. It prepared you. The confusion she stirred did not end your path. it redirected you. Even the lies told about you are becoming part of the testimony that proves God can restore what others tried to ruin. Now, your voice carries weight because it was tested. Your presence carries peace because it survived pressure. And your story is becoming living evidence that what was meant to break you can become the very ground where healing begins. This house is changing too. What once held tension and uncertainty is becoming a place of prayer, clarity, and renewal. The same space that witnessed sorrow can now become the altar where your next season begins to unfold. So let me ask you gently, will you release the past? Will you stop explaining yourself to people who never wanted to understand? Will you guard your peace more carefully and stop reopening doors that God is already closing for your good? If you do, you will walk into a season where delays become movement, rejection becomes direction, betrayal becomes wisdom, and every painful loss becomes a step leading you toward a better, healthier, and more purposeful future. The woman being exposed will see from afar what God does next. She will watch your life gain stability, your name regain honor, and your voice rise with new strength. Not to shame her, but to leave behind a lesson that cannot be ignored. And you, my beloved, will keep moving. You did not imagine the warfare. You did not deserve the betrayal. But you do deserve what comes next: deep peace, steady favor, quiet overflow, and a future no longer governed by fear. Now cleanse your space, speak life, and welcome the new season. The old has been revealed, and the new has already begun. Archangel Michael says, "My child, my beloved, something within your family may finally be becoming clearer. But do not let urgency or fear convince you that you must accuse someone before the truth has been supported by real evidence. Take a breath before continuing. Once you recognize an unhealthy pattern, it can change the way you understand the past. But clarity should come through behavior, consistency, facts, and discernment rather than through a mysterious name revealed by a message. Perhaps you have sensed for a long time that something felt wrong. Someone's words seemed loving, yet their behavior occasionally left you confused, diminished, or uneasy. Those feelings deserve attention, but they do not automatically prove betrayal. You were never meant to carry that uncertainty alone. God saw the moments when you questioned yourself, but now you have enough experience to examine relationships more carefully without allowing suspicion to consume your heart. Maybe your name was discussed in conversations you never heard. Perhaps someone criticized your choices or misunderstood your intentions. But do not imagine every private conversation as evidence that people were secretly working against your blessings. Family relationships can contain jealousy, competition, manipulation, and unresolved resentment. When those patterns exist, let repeated actions reveal them. Truth becomes stronger when it can be observed rather than merely feared. My child, do not call someone a snake simply because you are hurt or uncertain. Look for specific behaviors. Did they lie repeatedly? Share private information? Undermine you? Manipulate others against you? Violate boundaries after being asked to stop? Those are questions worth examining. If the evidence becomes clear, you can respond wisely without needing a supernatural countdown. You have more than 15 seconds to protect yourself and make a thoughtful decision. If these messages strengthen your faith, subscribe because you value the encouragement. Do not remain connected because you fear that 3 more betrayals are secretly waiting to be revealed. Your relationships deserve more than predictions built on anxiety. Imagine Archangel Michael holding his sword as a symbol of truth rather than accusation. Let that sword cut through confusion, exaggeration, and fear, so that what remains is something you can actually evaluate. You may feel shock if someone's behavior eventually confirms what you suspected. You may also feel recognition because certain moments from the past suddenly make sense. Give yourself time to process both feelings before deciding what to do. But remember that intuition can be useful without being infallible. Sometimes we sense genuine inconsistency. Other times, past wounds make harmless situations feel threatening. That is why discernment needs evidence beside emotion. You cannot enter a healthier season while repeatedly allowing harmful behavior into your closest relationships. But neither should you remove people from your life based only on assumptions about jealousy, curses, or hidden spiritual motives. If someone truly envies you, their behavior may eventually reveal it through competition, sabotage, disrespect, or repeated attempts to diminish your accomplishments. Respond to those actions rather than trying to read what exists inside their heart. No one can spiritually steal what God has placed within you. Another person's resentment cannot erase your character, gifts, faith, or capacity to build a meaningful future. Their choices belong to them. Your response belongs to you. Perhaps you were not ready to see certain patterns earlier because you wanted to believe the best about someone you loved. That does not make you foolish. Trust is human, and recognizing that trust was misplaced can take time. Now your heart may be stronger enough to hold truth without collapsing into revenge. That is the real preparation. You can acknowledge betrayal if it is proven while refusing to let bitterness become the next person who controls your life. So ask yourself whether you are ready for clarity, not for a dramatic name. Are you ready to observe honestly? Ask difficult questions, strengthen boundaries, and accept what repeated behavior may eventually reveal? Let truth arrive at the speed of evidence. You do not need panic to uncover it. What is hidden can become visible through patience, wisdom, and the courage to stop explaining away patterns that consistently damage your peace. And when you finally know what is true, respond from strength. Protect what needs protecting. Release what needs releasing. Forgive when you are ready. And keep walking without allowing betrayal to become the center of your identity. Name. Because once I say it, the lies will break. The spell will shatter, and the truth will ring in your soul like thunder from heaven. My child, this is your awakening moment. Don't scroll. Don't look away. Look closer, because the person you trusted most has already betrayed you once, and I will show you how. But first, I must prepare your spirit for the shock. You thought you were crazy. You thought you were imagining things. You told yourself you were being dramatic, but your spirit wasn't lying. Your intuition was my whisper. I was warning you, and now you will see how right you were. They smiled at your wins, but their heart cursed your elevation. They offered support while secretly stabbing your name with silent jealousy. This is the spiritual betrayal I must uncover. And child, this is only part 1. Dove, subscribe to receive what I reveal next, because after this name, there are still 2 others plotting in your circle. But today, we name the first. They watched you struggle and said nothing. They saw your tears and walked away. They told others they were protecting you, But in private, they were rooting for your fall. They told someone, "I hope it doesn't work out for them. They think they're better than us now." Yes, child, that sentence was said about you, and I heard it. I was in the room where they said it. I stood between you and the spiritual backlash that was forming. I blocked the curses. I scattered the spells. But now it's time for you to know what they did. So, are you ready? Because the next word I say will unlock a chain of events that cannot be reversed. You are not reading this by mistake. You were divinely led to this moment because they've been found out. And heaven is giving you 15 seconds to spiritually break the tie before they try to re-enter your life with lies again. Breathe. Center. Stay with me. The name is near. The moment is now. This is only the first veil I'm about to tear open. You felt it before, haven't you? That strange silence in the room when you spoke about your dreams. That look in their eyes, too quick to hide when you shared your blessing. A strange shift in their tone. A pause. A moment that didn't make sense at the time. But now it all adds up because the one who prayed with you was also praying against you. They smiled at your progress, but clenched their jaw behind closed doors. They said, "We're family." But behind your back, they said, "They don't deserve that life." And now their words have returned to them because heaven never lets darkness hide forever. You were always meant to shine, but they tried to smother your light with spiritual ash. You were always meant to rise, but they wanted you stuck where they were comfortable. They whispered your flaws. They exaggerated your mistakes. They painted you as arrogant. All because you finally stopped begging for crumbs. But I was there. I saw it every moment. You gave them grace while they sharpened the knife. I saw how you protected their name while they destroyed yours behind your back. But no more. You've entered a divine courtroom now. And I, Archangel, Michael, am standing at the gate. The verdict is here. The snake has been caught. And child, listen carefully. This person was not just any stranger. This person was once held in your heart. You laughed with them. You cried with them. You defended them when others warned you, and they used your loyalty as a weapon. But do not blame yourself. Even the strongest souls are fooled by clever serpents. Even the most divine hearts are preyed on by poison smiles. But now that spell is broken. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to free you from the guilt of loving the wrong one. Free you from the cycle of betrayal and self-blame. Free you from repeating patterns handed down by bloodlines meant to keep you small. Child, this is bigger than you think. This isn't just about one betrayal. This is ancestral. This is generational. This is the moment where chains break backward and forward in your lineage. The person who betrayed you. But I was there. I saw it. Every moment you gave them grace. While they sharpened the knife, I saw how you protected their name. While they destroyed yours behind your back, but no more. You've entered a divine courtroom now, and I, Archangel Michael, am standing at the gate. The verdict is here. The snake has been caught. And child, listen carefully. This person was not just any stranger. This person was once held in your heart. You laughed with them. You cried with them. You defended them when others warned you. and they used your loyalty as a weapon. But do not blame yourself. Even the strongest souls are fooled by clever serpents. Even the most divine hearts are preyed on by poison smiles. But now that spell is broken. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to free you from the guilt of loving the wrong one, free you from the cycle of betrayal and self-blame, free you from repeating patterns handed down by bloodlines meant to keep you small. Child, this is bigger than you think. This isn't just about one betrayal. This is ancestral. This is generational. This is the moment where chains break backward and forward in your lineage. The person who betrayed you was repeating a spiritual assignment passed down for decades. They thought you'd fall like the others. They thought you'd keep quiet like your ancestors did. But you didn't. You rose. You questioned. You noticed. And that's when the spiritual alarm was triggered. Heaven said, "This one sees. This one feels. This one is waking up. Give them the truth." So here you are, reading words that are not just words, but a sacred key unlocking a door you thought was permanently closed. The betrayal didn't just hurt you. It taught you. It activated your discernment. It crowned your spirit with fire. And now you're ready for the name. But let me ask you this. What will you do once it's revealed? Will you pretend again? Will you laugh with them again like nothing happened? Or will you choose yourself this time? Because that's what this test was really about. It wasn't about revenge. It was about recognition. Do you recognize who you are now? You're no longer the one who explains yourself to snakes. You're no longer the one who trades truth for peace. You're no longer the one who silences intuition for temporary love. You're rising now, and that's why they were sent to attack you. You thought it was a coincidence. They got close just before your breakthrough. No, they were sent to block it. A spiritual distraction wrapped in familiar flesh. But now the assignment failed because you saw too much, felt too much, and asked the right questions. And so now I show you the name. But first, let me tell you exactly how they betrayed you, Dove. Before you read further, subscribe, because this is part 1 of 3. More is about to come. And if you miss what heaven is revealing next, you may repeat the cycle you just escaped from. Back to what they did. They copied your words and mocked them. To others, they said you were too spiritual. They called your prayers dramatic. They laughed at the way you cried to God, all while asking you to pray for them in secret. They used your softness as a tool for their manipulation. They told others, they think they're chosen. It's cute. But child, you are chosen. And now the mocking ends. Here's what else I must reveal. They once blocked a blessing meant for you. They intercepted a message. They delayed a divine connection. They discouraged someone from helping you. They sweat doubt in a place meant to open a door for your next season. And heaven saw it. That's why their own blessings have been drying up. That's why the same doors they shut on you are now slamming in their face. Because God is not mocked, and betrayal of the chosen carries consequences. My beloved, breathe. You are still being protected. The snake was caught before they could cause your full collapse. And now all they built on lies is crumbling without your presence. They underestimated the one thing that no enemy can predict: divine timing. And now the time has come. the name. You want it, don't you? But first, let me make something very clear. The exposure of their identity is not your weapon for revenge. It is your confirmation that you were never crazy, that your heart, broken as it was not wrong to question, that your intuition, unexplainable as it felt, was heaven's alarm clock ringing loud, that your ache, the ache you buried, was never meant to be ignored. You are stepping into a realm now where truth walks with you and deception cannot enter. That's why it had to be revealed this way. Not all at once, but in divine waves, so your soul could receive it fully. This message right now is the sound of heaven's trumpet over your life. You are not being warned, you are being delivered. This is the unraveling of a spiritual attack. And you, child, are the one rising from the ashes with fire in your wings. Now, the name it begins with a letter they tried to hide. You've seen it appear often in your dreams. You've heard it in odd whispers. You felt your stomach twist when they entered the room. You chalked it up to anxiety. But it was your angels tightening your spirit, saying something is not right. And you were right. Their name will be shown fully, but not here in letters. It will be revealed in your next moment of silence. That pause after you finish reading this. That moment when a name floods into your mind before you can control it. That is the one. Heaven is using your own spirit as the final proof because the truth must rise. Not just from my voice, but from your knowing. Child, close your eyes. Take a breath and listen. The first name, that comes. The one you've been pushing away, that's them. And now the choice is yours. Do you confront? Do you cut off? Do you pray over it? Or do you pretend again? I cannot choose for you, but I will walk with you. No matter which door you open, you are not being warned. You are being delivered. This is the unraveling of a spiritual attack. And you, child, are the one rising from the ashes with fire in your wings. Now, the name, it begins with the letter they tried to hide. You've seen it appear often in your dreams. You've heard it in odd whispers. You felt your stomach twist when they entered the room. You chalked it up to anxiety. But it was your angels tightening your spirit, saying, something is not right. And you were right. Their name will be shown fully, but not here in letters. It will be revealed in your next moment of silence. That pause after you finish reading this. That moment when a name floods into your mind before you can control it. That is the one. Heaven is using your own spirit as the final proof because the truth must rise, not just from my voice, but from your knowing. Child, close your eyes, take a breath, and listen. The first name that comes, the one you've been pushing away, that's them. And now the choice is yours. Do you confront? Do you cut off? Do you pray over it? Or do you pretend again? I cannot choose for you, but I will walk with you. No matter which door you open, because even in betrayal, you are not alone. Even in heartbreak, you are still chosen. Even in the presence of serpents, you are surrounded by swords of fire. My beloved, you are being crowned in clarity. Your next chapter begins with truth, and I, Archangel Michael, will stand beside you as you walk through it. Dove, subscribe now, because the next message I bring you will expose the second one hiding in plain sight. This betrayal was only the beginning. There are layers, and you are about to see them all. Stay awake, stay armored, and stay aligned, because heaven is revealing what was once hidden. And now it's your time. My beloved, the moment has arrived. You've now seen the sign, felt the stirring in your spirit, and received the confirmation you were too afraid to ask for. You saw the name. You heard it echo. You felt the spiritual sting. And that child was not imagination. That was your discernment reactivated. You thought it was gone. You thought maybe you were too sensitive. But no, you were trained through the fire. And now you see with spiritual eyes the person heaven showed you. They've been hiding behind masks for too long. They laughed with you, but cried tears of jealousy when you rose. They pretended to support you, but in silence they plotted. They were in your house. They touched your clothes. They walked through your door with spiritual filth on their tongue, but heaven blocked the worst of it. There were 3 times they tried to curse your path, 3 moments where they called someone to delay your breakthrough, 3 lies they told behind your back that you never even knew happened because heaven intercepted them. I, Archangel Michael, stood at the gate, and I said, "You will not cross. You will not touch what is marked as divine. You are that divine one. You are the chosen. And no snake can bite what I guard with fire." Still, you were meant to see it, not to destroy them, but to complete the lesson. You needed to know who was bleeding your energy. You needed to see why your prayers felt blocked, why some days you woke up tired for no reason, why your dreams were foggy, why every time you shared a blessing, something fell apart after. They were draining you not by power, but by access. You allowed them too close. But child, don't be hard on yourself. It is not weakness to love. It is not failure to trust. It is not shameful to have believed in them. That was your light. That was your soul trying to heal what others ignored. That was your purity. And they tried to turn it against you, but they underestimated your God. Because now you are rising. Now your soul is awake, and you will never walk blind again. Let me show you what happens next. Their access is being revoked. The favor they enjoyed while being close to you is being dismantled. Heaven gave them grace because of your presence, but now the covering has shifted. Your departure was their exposure. They may not understand what's changing yet, but they will. They will look around and wonder why things are falling apart. They'll think it's random. They'll blame others, but in their spirit, they will feel it. Heaven has withdrawn because the chosen one has left. That chosen one is you. Now hear me clearly. This message is not about punishment. This is about awakening. You are awakening to your royalty, your inheritance, your clarity, your authority. For too long, you may have moved through life as though you needed permission to belong in rooms where your voice already mattered. Now you are learning a different posture, one shaped by dignity, clarity, and confidence rather than fear. Imagine a sword being placed in your hands. It is not a weapon against people. It is a symbol of truth, discernment, and the courage to cut through confusion, unhealthy attachments, manipulation, and beliefs that kept you smaller than you were meant to be. Truth can feel uncomfortable when it exposes patterns people preferred to keep hidden. As your boundaries become clearer, some relationships may begin changing. That does not automatically mean everyone who pulls away. is secretly against you. Some people may call you distant, cold, or proud, simply because you no longer respond the way you once did. Listen to trustworthy feedback, but do not abandon healthy growth merely to preserve someone else's comfort. Jesus was misunderstood too, but that does not mean every criticism you receive should be dismissed. Let humility remain beside confidence. Ask whether the criticism contains truth, then release what is simply another person's reaction to your boundaries. You were betrayed, but betrayal did not erase you. You were laughed at, but ridicule did not determine your worth. You may have been misrepresented, yet your voice can still return stronger, calmer, and more grounded than before. My child, no person has the power to destroy your destiny simply through jealousy or hidden resentment. What matters is recognizing unhealthy behavior early enough to protect yourself without allowing suspicion to control every relationship. There may be another person outside your immediate family whose behavior deserves closer attention. It could be a cousin, an in-law, a longtime friend, or someone who became close enough to feel like family. Do not assume betrayal simply because someone fits that description. Instead, examine the relationship honestly. Do they show up only when they need something? Do they respect your boundaries when you have nothing useful to offer them? Pay attention to repeated patterns rather than hidden motives you cannot prove. Some manipulation is subtle. Gossip may be disguised as concern, and intrusive questions may be presented as simple curiosity. Ask yourself, what happens after you share something personal? Does private information remain private? Does the person use your vulnerability to support you? Or does it later appear in conversations where it never belonged? Those observations can tell you more than trying to decide whether someone is collecting spiritual information about you. You do not need supernatural explanations to recognize when trust is being mishandled. If someone continually asks intimate questions but offers little genuine support, you are allowed to share less. Privacy is not cruelty. A boundary does not require an accusation before it becomes legitimate. Likewise, if a person repeatedly contacts you only when they need access, favors, reassurance, or information, notice the imbalance. Healthy relationships contain reciprocity, respect, and interest that does not disappear when you stop being useful. Let the sword of truth separate facts from fear. Do not cut people off simply because a message suggests a second betrayer exists. Give behavior enough time to reveal whether your concern is justified. Some people may naturally drift away as you change, and that can be healthy without anyone being a villain. Others may reveal patterns that genuinely require distance. Your task is to learn the difference. My beloved, growing in discernment does not mean becoming suspicious of every smile. It means no longer ignoring contradictions between what someone says and what they repeatedly do. So carry the sword carefully. Use it first against confusion, denial, and your own tendency to explain away behavior that consistently harms your peace. Truth does not need paranoia to become powerful. It needs patience, clear eyes, strong boundaries, and enough courage to accept what repeated actions eventually reveal. Them. They called Jesus the same, and yet he still rose. So will you. You were betrayed, but not broken. You were laughed at, but not lost. You were slandered, but not silenced, because when you carry the mark of God, no snakebite can destroy your destiny. Now I must tell you the next part. There's a second name. Yes, a second one has been hiding. watching, studying your patterns, learning how to speak your language. They're not from your immediate family, but they carry familiar bloodlines. A cousin, an in-law, a lifelong friend who became family, someone who says, "I'm always here for you," but only shows up when they need something. Their betrayal is quieter, more strategic. They never strike openly. They operate in passive poison. Gossip masked as concern, questions masked as curiosity, checking on you only to collect spiritual data to twist later. And they've been doing this for years. But child, that surveillance ends today because I am placing a mirror in your life. You'll begin to see them as they are. You'll feel tired after phone calls with them. You'll feel anxious before meeting them. You'll sense a pull in your stomach when they hug you. That is not confusion. That is discernment, screaming to be heard. And now it will be dove. Subscribe now, because the next message I release will name the second betrayal in full clarity. You cannot afford to miss it. Your next blessing depends on clean spiritual surroundings, and you are being cleansed now. This is the season of purification. I'm not just revealing snakes. I'm rebuilding your discernment, sharpening your inner hearing, restoring your lost peace. Because, child, peace is your birthright. And anyone who brings chaos, guilt, or control is not aligned with your anointed path. It doesn't matter what history says. It doesn't matter what their title is. It doesn't matter who they used to be. The question now is, who are they in your present? Because anyone who disrupts your peace has no place in your future. Now you must choose. Do you hold on out of guilt or release for growth? Heaven will not drag you forward. You must step willingly. I can fight for you, but I cannot force you to let go. If you stay connected to the snake after the truth is revealed, the consequences become yours. I don't say this to scare you. I say this to protect you, because spiritual warfare isn't just about demons. Sometimes it's about decisions. And this one is yours. You don't need their apology. You don't need them to admit it. You don't need one last conversation. You only need one thing. Now, obedience to the truth. Close the door. Cut the tie. Reclaim your spirit. Because on the other side of this closure is the greatest breakthrough of your life. You think I'm exaggerating? Watch what happens within 21 days of this release. Doors will open. People will call. Delays will dissolve. Health will improve. Finances will accelerate. Dreams will return because you removed the blockage. The snake wasn't just betraying you. They were spiritually blocking you. And now you are free. Child, I leave you with this final truth. You were never abandoned. You were being protected. You were never rejected. You were being redirected. You were never unloved. You were being prepared for divine level love. And now the preparation ends. The presentation begins. Step forward. The stage is set. The oil is fresh. The fire is lit. You have passed the test. The snake has been seen. The tie has been cut, and you are rising forever. Marked, forever chosen, forever protected. I am Archangel Michael. I have spoken, and I will war for you as you walk into the prophecy that no snake can stop. Dove, subscribe now, because next I will expose the second name, and this one will shake you. Stay awake. Stay holy. Stay ready. We are not done. My child, you are still here. And that says more than you know. Because even after the heartbreak, after the spiritual sting, after the name was shown and the illusions fell, you did not break. Yes, you cried. Yes, your trust was shaken. Yes, your hands trembled when you realized the snake wore your family's face. But you're still standing, and that child is what terrifies the enemy most. That no matter what weapon they formed against you, you didn't fall. You were protected. Even when you didn't feel protected, you were guarded. Even when the betrayal happened inside your home, because God never left you. He was watching. He was recording. He was preparing your rise even while they planned your fall. And now they see you rising, glowing, free, unchained. They can feel it. Even if you say nothing, even if you post nothing, they feel it in their spirit. You're not the same. And they're right. You've changed. But not because of them. Because of truth. Because of the fire you walked through. Because of the prayers you whispered through the pain. Child, that fire purified you. It didn't burn you. It burned the chains. It burned the illusions. It burned the dependency you didn't even know you had. You see it now, don't you? How much of your light you were shrinking just to keep their love. How much of your intuition you silenced just to maintain peace. How many spiritual warnings you ignored just to avoid being too sensitive. But not anymore. The real you is awakening, and that awakening has power. So now I tell you, do not reach back for what God pulled you from. Do not answer the call of those who caused the wound. Do not grieve the disconnection when it was the connection itself that was suffocating your soul. You are entering a divine season of silence and speed. Silence because heaven is hiding your next move, even while they planned your fall, and now they see you, rising, glowing, free, unchained. They can feel it. Even if you say nothing, even if you post nothing, they feel it in their spirit. You're not the same. And they're right. You've changed. But not because of them. Because of truth. Because of the fire you walked through. Because of the prayers you whispered through the pain. Child, that fire purified you. It didn't burn you. It burned the chains. It burned the illusions. It burned the dependency you didn't even know you had. You see it now, don't you? How much of your light you were shrinking just to keep their love. How much of your intuition you silenced just to maintain peace. How many spiritual warnings you ignored just to avoid being too sensitive. But not anymore. The real you is awakening, and that awakening has power. So now I tell you, do not reach back for what God pulled you from. Do not answer the call of those who caused the wound. Do not grieve the disconnection when it was the connection itself that was suffocating your soul. You are entering a divine season of silence and speed. Silence, because heaven is hiding your next move. Speed, because things will happen fast once the right people are gone. Watch for it. Watch how the very things you begged for start finding you without resistance. Watch how your health begins to restore. How your creativity comes back. How your finances start flowing. How doors you forgot you knocked on suddenly open, and it won't make sense logically because it's not logic. It's divine alignment. God delayed certain blessings because the snake still had access. But now, that access is revoked, and so the river flows again. But child, listen closely, because I must speak a harder truth now. There is a second betrayal, and this one is hidden in love. Yes, the second one is not harsh. They are soft, affectionate, gentle even. But it's manipulation dressed in kindness. It's guilt disguised as care. It's control veiled in closeness. This is the person who always says, "But I just want what's best for you. I'm only saying this because I love you. I'm your only real supporter." But they never celebrate you. Not really. They don't share your wins. They don't amplify your voice. They don't pray for your expansion. They pray for your return to comfort, their comfort. They want the version of you that still needs their advice, their approval, their affirmation. But child, you're outgrowing the leash. And they feel it. They feel you pulling away spiritually. Even if your body is still in the room, they feel your clarity sharpening. Even if your voice hasn't changed, and that's what's scaring them, because they know when you fully rise, they will lose their grip. But I'm here to confirm that grip was never holy. That guilt was never sacred. That comfort was never mutual. It was a cage dressed as concern. And now you're seeing it. You'll begin to notice it more this week. They'll call at odd times. They'll bring up old memories. They'll say, "Remember who's always been here for you." It will sound like love, but your spirit will feel tight. That's your sign. The second snake wears perfume, not venom, but they're a snake nonetheless. I will show you the name, but first break the dependency, because this one is feeding off your validation. They appear innocent, but heaven sees every hidden agenda. You don't need their permission to rise. You don't need their blessing to walk forward. You don't owe them your light just because they clapped when you were still dim. And yes, you can love people without letting them lead you. You are not ungrateful. You are just finally awake. Dove, subscribe now, because the third betrayal I reveal is the one you'll never expect, and you must be ready. This is a season of prophetic positioning. God is shifting people, breaking ties, and sending alignment into your circle. Heaven is not being cruel. It is being precise, because you're not just being protected. You're being positioned. And that requires silence, stillness, and solitude. You may lose access to some people in this season. It will feel sudden. It will feel personal, but it is divine. God removes before He releases. He isolates before He elevates. And you are in the isolation phase now, not because you're wrong, but because what's coming next requires clean spiritual air. The kind of air that snakes cannot breathe in. So breathe, child. You're almost there. Your reward is closer than you think. Your destiny is about to erupt. Your purpose is about to scream through the walls. And those who betrayed you, they will watch from a distance, not in punishment, but in revelation. Because God wants them to see what they tried to bury. Rise in glory. They will see your name echo in places they swore you'd never enter. They will hear your story told in rooms they said you didn't deserve. and they will realize they didn't break you. They built you by betraying you. They activated your fire by lying on you. They unlocked your sword. By rejecting you, they handed you back to God and in His hands. You are unstoppable. Now rise not as a victim, but as a vessel, not as someone who lost, but as someone who learned, not as someone who was broken, but as someone who was rebuilt by the divine. You are not the same. And that's the proof that it worked. The betrayal worked for your good. Let them whisper. Let them watch. Let them wonder. But don't let them in. Not again. You are now standing at the gates of your next chapter, and the lock was always inside your hands. Use it. Close what must be closed. Delete what must be deleted. Bless from a distance who must be left behind. And walk forward with sword, with fire, with truth. Dove, subscribe now, because the third exposure will arrive in my next revelation. It is not someone you suspect, and you must be prepared. But for now, rest. You have passed the test. The snake has been seen. The tie has been broken. They swore you'd never enter. They will hear your story told in rooms. They said you didn't deserve. And they will realize they didn't break you. They built you by betraying you. They activated your fire by lying on you. They unlocked your sword. By rejecting you, they handed you back to God and in His hands. You are unstoppable. Now rise not as a victim, but as a vessel. Not as someone who lost, but as someone who learned. Not as someone who was broken, but as someone who was rebuilt by the divine. You are not the same. And that's the proof that it worked. The betrayal worked for your good. Let them whisper. Let them watch. Let them wonder. But don't let them in. Not again. You are now standing at the gates of your next chapter, and the lock was always inside your hands. Use it. Close what must be closed. Delete what must be deleted. Bless from a distance who must be left behind. And walk forward with sword, with fire, with truth. Dove, subscribe now, because the third exposure will arrive in my next revelation. It is not someone you suspect, and you must be prepared. But for now, rest. You have passed the test. The snake has been seen. The tie has been broken. The light has returned, and you, child, are finally free. I have spoken. I am Archangel Michael, and I will war beside you until your destiny is louder than their lies. My beloved, even now I feel the tremble in your heart. You're breathing different. Your spine is straighter. Your soul is aware in a way it's never been before. You've crossed a spiritual threshold. There is no going back. The veil is not just lifted. It's been torn. And now you're seeing the room with light. The lies you tolerated for years are suddenly too loud. The people you once excused now feel like heavy shadows on your joy. That is not bitterness. That is clarity. And clarity is not cruel. Clarity is holy. The enemy always counted on your confusion. They wanted you tangled in emotion, caught in guilt, drowning in old loyalty that no longer serves your calling. But that ends now because you are rising into spiritual adulthood, and with it comes separation. Separation from people, yes, but more than that. Separation from illusions. You now realize some people weren't loyal. They were just comfortable in your blindness. They weren't supporting you. They were surviving off your silence. And now that you found your voice, they don't recognize you. Let them be confused. Let them talk. Let them label you different because you are no longer accessible to betrayal, no longer open to manipulation, no longer available for fake love wrapped in obligation. And as that truth settles into your bones, another truth arrives. The third betrayal. This one is going to shock you because this one didn't smile in your face. This one didn't pretend to love you. This one stayed quiet, but silence was the weapon. This person didn't stab you. They watched you bleed and said nothing. They had the power to warn you, the chance to defend you, the opportunity to speak your name in honor when others spoke it in hatred. But they stayed quiet, and silence in spiritual warfare is agreement. They were in the room when your name was twisted. They were on the call when the snake spread the lie. They were beside the ones who plotted, and they did nothing. And now heaven is exposing that silence. Because sometimes betrayal isn't what's done. It's what wasn't done. This third person has access to your world. Not deep, like the first, not gentle like the second, but close enough. Close enough to reach. Close enough to text. Close enough to influence. And yet, they chose distance. And distance, when you're under attack, is just another way to say, I don't care if you fall. You gave them honor. You shared your vision. You included them in your early dreams. And when they had the chance to say, don't touch them, they're anointed, they said, nothing. That silence was betrayal. That silence was permission to the enemy. That silence was a denial of your divinity. But child, I heard it. Heaven saw it, and now you're being released from the tie because betrayal doesn't have to scream. Sometimes it just watches. This person may try to come close again, soon. They'll say, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to get involved. I stayed out of it because I respect you. But you know the truth now. If they respected you, they would have stood up for you. If they loved you, they would have called. If they carried heaven's light, they would have covered you in prayer. When others tried to cover you in gossip, so when they come, don't be bitter, but don't be blind either. God isn't asking you to hate. He's asking you to discern, because the next level of your life cannot afford silent witnesses. Only warriors, only protectors, only those who cry your name in prayer. When the world tries to erase your name in slander, you're not looking for applause. You're looking for alignment. And that alignment is here. I'm now repositioning you. Watch how relationships shift. Watch how phones go silent. Watch how certain people fade without conflict. That's me clearing your field because your harvest is due and weeds are not welcome. The angels have surrounded your soil, and anything not rooted in truth is being pulled. Even if it hurts, even if it feels like loss, even if it looks like rejection, trust the pulling. Because what's coming next needs a clean place to grow. And child, it's coming fast. I need you to hear this in your spirit. Within the next 11 days, a divine reversal will occur. Something you thought was denied will reappear. Something that seemed delayed will accelerate. And someone you gave up on will return different. But only if you obey what I've told you here. Because betrayal is never just about pain. It's a test of readiness. Now that you've seen the snakes, can you still choose the path? Now that you know who stood against you, only warriors, only protectors, only those who cry your name in prayer. When the world tries to erase your name in slander, you're not looking for applause. You're looking for alignment. And that alignment is here. I'm now repositioning you. Watch how relationships shift. Watch how phones go silent. Watch how certain people fade without conflict. That's me clearing your field, because your harvest is due and weeds are not. Welcome. The angels have surrounded your soil, and anything not rooted in truth is being pulled. Even if it hurts, even if it feels like loss, even if it looks like rejection, trust the pulling, because what's coming next needs a clean place to grow. And child, it's coming fast. I need you to hear this in your spirit. Within the next 11 days, a divine reversal will occur. Something you thought was denied will reappear. Something that seemed delayed will accelerate. And someone you once gave up on may return appearing different. If that happens, do not assume the past has automatically been healed. Let time, consistency, accountability, and changed behavior show you whether anything truly deserves another chance. Betrayal is more than pain. It can reveal what you have learned about yourself. Now that certain patterns are clearer, can you continue forward without becoming consumed by suspicion? Can you forgive while still protecting healthy boundaries? After heartbreak, trusting again may feel difficult. But love does not have to disappear because someone misused it. You can remain open to healthy connection while becoming wiser about who receives access to your heart. I, Archangel Michael, stand as a symbol of courage beside you. Do not allow betrayal to become your permanent identity. What happened was an experience and a lesson, not a label you must carry into every chapter that follows. You were betrayed, but you were not destroyed. You were wounded, but your future was not wasted. You were doubted, misunderstood, and perhaps spoken about unfairly. But those experiences do not determine who you are becoming. Truth has a way of becoming clearer with time. You do not need to force vindication or chase every person who believed a lie. Let your consistent character, choices, and peace speak where arguments would only create more exhaustion. The heaviness can begin lifting when you stop carrying responsibility for everyone else's opinion. Old chains weaken when you choose healthier patterns, and old fears lose power when you stop allowing them to dictate every decision. Imagine a crown above your life, not one proving superiority, but one representing dignity, humility, wisdom, and perseverance. You do not need to feel completely worthy before you begin living according to those values. Walk forward now. Rekindle your faith. Return to prayer. Step back into the parts of life fear made you abandon. Let your next season be built from truth rather than from the need to prove something to those who hurt you. If these messages continue helping you heal, subscribe and stay connected because you value the encouragement. Let that choice come from peace, not from fear that you will miss a secret instruction required for your future. The next stage of rebuilding is practical as well as spiritual. Strengthen your finances. Protect your time. Choose healthier relationships. Care for your body. Ask for help when you need it, and stop confusing exhaustion with faithfulness. You have already learned how to recognize some unhealthy patterns. Now use that knowledge to create strategy rather than suspicion. The goal is not to spend your future searching for snakes. It is to become someone who no longer ignores clear warning signs. This message may end, but your awakening continues through what you do afterward. You are not required to remain the betrayed person in your own story. You can become the person who learned, healed, rebuilt, and chose differently. Archangel Michael reminds you that courage is not revenge. The sword passed to you is symbolic, a sword of truth, discernment, boundaries, and clarity. Use it to separate what is healthy from what repeatedly brings harm. You do not need every opponent silenced or every promise fulfilled immediately before you can rise. Stand tall because your peace no longer depends on those outcomes. Let lies become lessons rather than fuel for obsession. Rise, beloved. Keep your heart soft enough to love, your eyes clear enough to recognize patterns, and your boundaries strong enough to protect what you are rebuilding. Betrayal was part of your story, but it does not get to write the ending.